All right, good morning. I see it is 9 o'clock here in Happy Valley, and the Zoom room is starting to fill up. Welcome everybody to this morning's edition of Coffee Hour. We're going to talk to Heather Major. She's the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation. Looking forward to our conversation this morning, but as always, we'd like to know who you are and where you're from. Go ahead and drop that information in the chat in the bottom of your Zoom video window, or if you are watching on Facebook Live, maybe not quite yet on Facebook Live, but if you're joining us out there, tell us who you are and where you're zooming in from. We'll be getting started in just a minute here. Thanks for joining us on the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Once again, welcome into the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Go ahead and let us know who you are and where you're zooming in from. You can drop that information in the chat here on Zoom. We have a great guest lined up this morning. We're going to talk with Heather Major. She's the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation. I see Leslie Crane from Philadelphia. Good morning, Leslie. Thanks for joining us. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they're passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State network. As always, we're recording this session and closed captions are available for this event. You can find that information in the chat, in Zoom, or in the comments on Facebook. I'm excited to talk to Heather Major today. She is a 2002 graduate of the College of Health and Human Development here at Penn State. Heather is the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation. She started her career at Independence Blue Cross in 2004 in the finance area, and then joined the foundation in 2012. As director of foundation programs, Heather contributed her expertise and aptitude in finance, public health, health policy to guide foundation strategy and advance its mission and position as a philanthropic leader in public health. She directs operations and leads the development of the foundation's programmatic initiatives, partnerships across all sectors. She manages the research funding and nonprofit grants that improve access to care and achieve greater health equity in underserved and minority communities. She also oversees all the foundation's communications, including its award-winning publication, and is the host of the foundation's internationally reaching podcast, Someone You Know. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Heather Major to Coffee Hour this morning. Welcome, Heather.
Good morning. It's great to be here. Thanks so much, Paul, for that introduction. And what a tremendous opportunity to join everyone in this Zoom room this morning. Hope everyone has their coffee or beverage of choice this morning. I certainly do.
I do too.
Good morning, everyone.
Share how you became a Penn State and Indy Lion.
Absolutely. One of my favorite stories, actually. I'm very fortunate to have grown up in Happy Valley, and that was the doing of my parents. They have decided to move from a very small area in Pennsylvania and My parents divorced when I was younger, and my mom decided that she wanted to stay because she felt that the education that we would have both in State College and at Penn State University would be, pivotal to our future. So after my parents divorced, my mom found herself as a single parent, raising two daughters, no formal secondary education. And she actually became employed by Penn State and worked part-time went to school part-time, I should say, while she was working full-time. And then eventually went to school full-time while working full-time, and really kind of set the stage for my sister and I. We have such gratitude to Penn State for the opportunities that it provided, my mom professionally and for us as a family. And, my mom's story, which I'll just tell you really quickly, was, her father really held Penn State in high regard. And so when my mom had to make some decisions about where we were going, what we were doing, she really felt that Penn State was the right place for us, and Happy Valley was the right place to raise her family. And I credit my mom, honestly. She started our Penn State family legacy because of her hard work and dedication. So when it came time to make decisions about college, I'm not sure there were many options on the table. I don't remember options, Paul, but my sister and I were both Penn Staters, very proud Penn Staters, and as is my mom. And so the choice was pretty easy.
So when you were at Penn State, what activities were you involved in?
Well, I had an interesting experience at Penn State. I was more involved in, I think I had friends that were going to Penn State. I had new friends I was making at Penn State, and I was also working. So I spent a lot of time sort of balancing work and balancing classes. And so I don't have a lot of formal activities that I was involved in, but certainly, among the many that I really enjoyed sports at Penn State. I didn't play any at the time, not that coordinated, but certainly appreciated the competition and the incredible athleticism of our student athletes. And for me, it was really more about community. I had been involved with, I grew up there, so I think I had a little more perspective into the community surrounding Penn State. My involvement with activities really happened as I was preparing to graduate, and I feel like over the last, hard to believe, few decades, that that's really when I've been able to be more engaged and more involved with the university.
How about some of your favorite memories from your time at Penn State? We were just talking off air about some favorite memories from living here in Happy Valley. How about some times spent on campus at Penn State?
Some of my early memories, or my best memories, I'd have to say, graduation, I think, is always one that I look back fondly on, and just having my own sense of pride of becoming part of the Penn State Alumni Association and the greater Penn State family. Certainly, family pride, and of course, just really fond memories of homecoming, and a lot of the really spirited Big Ten competitions that were happening on campus. And honestly, I think for me, part of my academic experience was really memorable in my internship, and I hope that we can talk about that a little bit more.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into talking about that. This is Paul. I'm Paul Clifford. This is the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. This morning, I'm joined by Heather Major. She's the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation. So you mentioned your internship and some of your early career experiences. First, how did your internship set you up to launch your career?
My internship was pivotal, and I think now professionally, one of my responsibilities is actually overseeing an internship for student nurses. And I think where it benefited me the most was it made me step away from sort of the environment and space that I had become so accustomed to. And I had an internship in a small rural hospital in Pennsylvania under the leadership and direction of its CEO, who was insistent that I have a broad understanding of not just the operations, but also the people who were there caring for members of the community. And for me, that was pivotal, because I think this is, this sort of led to what I felt was more of my passion. I wasn't sure going into or coming out of HPA what I wanted to do. I thought maybe, looking at the job market, I would want to be in, more senior oriented care, because we know that the baby boomer population is aging. And I thought maybe I'd be a nursing home administrator. But really going to that hospital, I learned a lot about the community and how to serve the community. And maybe at that time, it was more exciting than informational. But looking back, I think it was more, the experience was absolutely more formative than I could have realized then.
Yeah. Yeah. Walk us
And that
through some
led
of
to-
those early career experiences that you had before signing on with the foundation.
Sure. This is one that a lot of people really like to hear about, and hopefully this today's audience too. So I was interviewing for jobs like many young people coming out of their, after graduating, coming out of their degree programs, and was I was open to move anywhere. I knew that I wanted to be in a relatively large urban area. And I received an opportunity to interview for an associate underwriter position at Independence Blue Cross. And I had learned a lot about Blue Cross Blue Shield in HPA and about the payer system. And I had, at the time, told my dean I would never work for an insurance company. And Paul, it's the only place I've ever worked. So
Right.
Never say never, everyone. So I took the opportunity to interview, as I would encourage anyone. You never know what's going to come across your path, and it doesn't hurt to interview. And drove the 4 hours to Philadelphia. Had never, really spent any time in Philadelphia. Did a little research on the company, and suddenly found myself with a second interview and an offer for a job that I pretty much knew nothing about at the time. And so it's always great to have someone who can see in you what you don't yet see in yourself. And I received the offer for the job, and I accepted. And a few weeks later was moving to Philadelphia, to a place that I had really never spent any time and didn't have any connections. So for me, I've always been raised with the mentality of, work hard, do your part. And my mom was a great example of that. And my sister and I have tried to really embody that in ourselves and for our families. And so I just learned as much as I could. And I had many opportunities to grow professionally within independence. So what was supposed to be a 3-year-ish gig turned into 2 careers, really, spanning the course of about 20 years. So I feel very fortunate that was that those opportunities were afforded to me, and I've tried to make the most of them. And I think the most important thing, Paul, is that it wasn't the job that attracted me to the organization. It was the culture of the organization. And that, to me, is the one thing that I want to impart upon anyone, whether you're new to your career or, in your career for many, many years, is that culture is what attracted me, and it's what's kept me, and it's only gotten better at Independence. So that's the beginning. And
yeah. So the first 10 years of your time at Independence is almost a stark contrast to the next 10 years at Independence, right? Same company, right? But it's a really different aspect of the work. Talk about your transition from your first role there to now what you're doing, and how you got started with the foundation and the work that you're doing today.
Sure, and Paul, you're totally correct. I was part of the team that was, doing some of the more financial work, to setting rates on employer groups, to now being on the other side, making sure that our company had a firm and formative commitment to the well-being of the community. So that really comes from the beginning. What attracted me to Independence was the people, was the leadership, was the culture. And because I moved to Philadelphia without knowing many people, I joined our corporate volunteer program as a way to go beyond sort of my business area, to connect with people who had similar interests. I ended up volunteering for 2 organizations early on who are still very near and dear to me and to my family, one being Back on My Feet and the other being MANA. And it was actually through Back on My Feet that sort of started a trajectory for me to become a long distance runner. But more importantly, really it helped me gain empathy and have a better understanding, an on the ground understanding of how people were, living and seeing the world differently through that experience. And because of my volunteer experience, met some really great people, some really amazing people. And it really was the catalyst to my future. I didn't know it at the time, but I met who would then become my boss. And when our company was formalizing its commitment through the establishment of the IBC Foundation to community health, it was my predecessor, Sheila Hess, who is now the city representative for Philadelphia. She actually was featured in our company intranet in a story, and I reached out to congratulate her. And it was a very, normal kind of interaction between us, and how wonderful it was that the company was formalizing its commitment and having a foundation. And I found myself a few weeks later with an invitation to apply for positions that were opening up on that team. And this is the part that I love to tell everyone, that I was very happy where I was in underwriting. I had really great opportunities as a health policy grad. The ACA was rolling out. I was involved in teams that were, looking to educate and understand that and help, others understand the policies that were associated with that. And I didn't think I was ready to leave. And I have a great mentor who's sort of evolved into my sponsor, who encouraged me to apply. Just apply, see what happens. You don't know what you might be missing. And so I took his advice and I applied and ended up becoming part of the program team at the foundation when it was just starting. And that is, it's all because of, the relationships, really. And certainly I have the fundamental knowledge that I was able to apply to the job, but it was really through just being genuine and authentic in who I am and taking chances.
So you mentioned you weren't an athlete when you were here at Penn State. Now you're into distance running. What are you currently training for?
Right now, I'm training just to be able to fit into my clothes, Paul. No, I had a wonderful, a few very dedicated years before becoming a mom and before getting married, where I was a competitive long distance runner. My last race, very proud to say, was the Boston Marathon, my very first Boston Marathon, and a requalifier for Boston for me, which was, an added bonus. Right. And it was the year after the bombing in Boston, and I just felt very, compelled and emotional and, just so humbled by the experience. And for me, that was a goal that I achieved and felt exceeded my own expectations, and I was able to sort of step away from the competitiveness of long distance running and turn it more into my moving meditation. So right now it really is just my my sort of escape and my opportunity to take a break in my day and get fresh air and see the beautiful sights here in Philadelphia.
That's amazing. The Boston Marathon is certainly an accomplishment for those of you who are listening but not aware. You actually have to qualify to run in Boston, which means you have to run another marathon and achieve a standard. And even at times, so my sister is a Boston Marathon qualifier, and it took her 3 times. She missed qualifying for Boston 3 times by a combined time of 7 minutes. So 7 minutes over 3 years. She missed it. She finally did it on her 4th attempt. And so it's not an easy standard, because even if you clear the standard, depending on the number of people that also clear it, they start to lower the standard. So, but that's right. Certainly quite an accomplishment in the running world.
Yeah, I also think it's great to be a spectator at that race. That's
right.
That's something amazing. And Paul, I don't know if you were able to join your sister and seeing her cross that finish line or on the way to the finish line, but it is quite it's just a special occasion. So that it's not who I was necessarily in college. I think that you have a lot of demands on your time right. and your energy when you're when you're trying to pursue your degree. And I think that was just an awesome opportunity and time in my life where I could dedicate the time and energy to that. And now I dedicate my time and energy to, to my family, and certainly still very much encourage my own well-being and others' well-being any way that I can. I belong to our corporate running club. We're called the Blue Streaks. We've got about 200 associate members, and we're doing all sorts of things these days to help people stay active and healthy, and want to be participating in what mostly is virtual races at the moment. But at some point we'll get back to the longer in-person, larger events.
Absolutely. So from my understanding of corporate philanthropy, it's really corporations' way to give back in a way that aligns with the values of the company. Can you talk a little bit about what the key support areas are for the Independence Blue Cross Foundation?
Absolutely. So we're unique in the sense that not only are we a corporate foundation, but we focus on health, and we focus on the health of the community. We're a regional foundation, which means we get to spend, again, our time and our resources in investments in our local communities, and that would be the 5-county region of southeastern Pennsylvania, where you will find a very interesting mix of issues and demographics. You have Bucks County, and you have Chester County, and Delaware County, Philadelphia County, Montgomery County. And if you look at some of the information that comes out about county health rankings from our 67 counties in our state, Chester County ranks first in terms of its overall health and health outcomes, and Philadelphia County ranks 67th out of 67th. And then somewhere in between, you have the others. So it's interesting that it is, in many ways, you're looking at issues differently and having to really understand the communities at a very local level in order to do this work. For our foundation, it's really key that we focus on access to care, because if you are unable to access care, there's been plenty of research, but certainly common sense will tell you that you're going to have poorer health outcomes. So our foundation has invested in what I consider three sort of key issues within access to care. And those are primary care and those ancillary services, health services that are harder to come by. And that's dental and vision and behavioral health care. And we do that through tremendous partnerships with health centers across our region. So federally qualified health centers, free clinics, and nonprofit clinics that are sometimes affiliated with the larger health systems here in Philadelphia. We've also invested in nursing education and leadership. Nurses are on the front lines, and of course, it's hard to read any stories today about COVID without hearing about nurses and all that they do, and so we're very proud to have been supporting nursing even before there was a foundation. It really was something that we've taken and grown as a program and initiative. And then, Paul, our foundation has leaned in, just like our company, leaned in and started and tried to really lead on the issue of the opioid crisis and substance use disorder that is affecting communities nationally, and certainly, very hard hit here in the Southeast PA region. So that is where we spend a lot of our time and obviously invest a lot of our resources. But I think, we can't ignore other social factors and things that come into play when you're talking about people's health. And so we have really great opportunities to be engaged in those spaces as well.
What does that process look like? If a community partner is interested in getting funding, are you seeking out those partners? Are they coming to you as part of a grant process? How does one kind of qualify or get on your radar screen, if you will?
Yeah, this is a really great question. So, people may think that foundations have an understanding of all of the nonprofits that are out there and all of them who are doing work around a certain issue, and that's just not the case, right? Not necessarily on all things. So our foundation, I feel, is unique in the sense that we're always willing to have a conversation. So you can certainly find information on our website about our grant programs and the timing of those grant programs. But if you reach out to us with a question or an inquiry or a request to meet, we're always happy to, because I think that, it's better to meet in person. And I think that the relationship aspect of our work is essential to the work being successful. And we build partnerships, we build collaborations. We can't do this work by ourselves, and we don't do this work by ourselves. Those nonprofits and are essential to the healthcare safety net to us. So we have a formal process certainly to evaluate requests for funding, but as far as how to contact us, how to learn more about us, and conversely for us to learn more about you as an organization, just reach out. We're more than happy to have those conversations.
So Heather, as the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation, what does a typical day look like?
Yeah, not typical.
Right.
There's nothing really typical about a day. Certainly, I could say that in the sort of virtual working environment, a typical day feels very much like meeting after meeting after meeting. But I think that, for myself and my team and my leadership, I think there's a lot of things that we do in a day that aren't meetings, that aren't, that are really looking into issues and trying to figure out ways that we can be a better partner, ways that we can provide, support, leadership to the issues that are affecting our community. But we spend a lot of our time, Paul, not just in the day-to-day work, but thinking about the future. And the future is something really hard to predict. And I think that for us, it's really important that we're paying attention to what's happening today, but what also is happening tomorrow.
How about your favorite part of your job? I would imagine that you work with a lot of inspiring causes. What gets you kind of jumping out of your bed and is the favorite part of what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, it's the people. And I think a lot of folks that resonates with a lot of folks. It's really the people. I am very fortunate to work with an exceptionally talented team and to work for an incredible company with just the best leaders that you could ask for. So for me, it's the people. I have a certain drive within me, a certain passion for this work, but it is work. And I think at the end of the day, just being able to have the talent and inspiration of others around you and colleagues and partners in the community, I think just makes this work much more enriching than I could have imagined. I also love about our job as a foundation that we get to connect people. We get to connect with people, and we also get to connect people with people. And we have some really exciting collaborations coming up that, we find ourselves being a convener and a connector, and having that be some of the greatest value that we can bring to the health of a community. And I think that's a really rewarding part of the job. Now, today's world, it looks a little different. It feels a little different. We're very much looking forward to when we can be back in person with folks, but we're doing our best, just like everyone, to just try and maintain that connectivity and that communication and to make sure that we're doing our part.
Absolutely. The virtual world has definitely changed things up for all of us. We have a look into your living space there. We also see you have a guest with you. One we were talking offline, one of your Great Pyrenees. Who's joining you this morning?
Well, both I think have passed behind us a couple of times now, but the 2-year-old Great Pyrenees is now seated just sort of beside me as she takes her position for most of my calls, and our older Pyrenees has left the room. I guess I'm not exciting enough.
There we go. Right on cue.
Yes.
The path to philanthropic work, you just laid that out for us, right? How you were involved in another sector within within Independence Blue Cross, and then shifted over to the foundation side. I think about it in the work that we do, right? I mean, there's nothing you can major in as an undergraduate to get into alumni relations or to get into development or foundation work. When did you realize that this was something that you were passionate about?
Well, I think that I'm still realizing it, Paul, if I could be honest. I think that there's elements of the work that I get to do, and you see another dog joining us now. There's elements of the work that I get to do that I'm consistently realizing just how fortunate I am to have this opportunity, and how much I want to give to it of myself, professionally and personally. And so I think I'm still learning it, but I do think that it was very early on, with joining the foundation, that I realized we can make a real difference here. And I think that we have that responsibility, certainly as an industry, but also I think that's just more of a personal passion for me.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about the Someone You Know podcast. We have certainly in the virtual space, right? We've all gotten more accustomed to virtual activities, events, things like this, like coffee hour was born out of COVID-19 work from home. We do a number of things like this. Talk about the Someone You Know podcast and kind of what, if somebody's going to subscribe to that, what can they expect to be hearing?
Sure. And the Someone You Know podcast has been something very unique for our foundation to embark upon. And it comes from what began a few years ago as an opportunity to destigmatize the disease of addiction. And I mentioned earlier about our company independence, and also our foundation, the Independence of the Cross Foundation, really taking a leadership position on the issue of the opioid crisis and what we can do to combat this in our communities. And got to looking into the issue of social stigma and how that prevents people from seeking help. And we really felt that our foundation could lean in here. And so we've actually gotten to work with some great researchers, one of which is from Penn State. He's a Penn Stater. And he and I and the team collaborated on an opportunity to have the Someone You Know campaign. And we just decided that it would be great to be able to share some positive storytelling about recovery, and that recovery is possible. And through that, we have really incredible people who are willing to share their stories of success, share their journey to recovery. And these are real stories, and these are real people in our communities, and they are the most incredibly inspiring and genuine stories you're going to hear. And we took that campaign, and we obviously did a lot of promotion behind it, but we also did sort of a traveling exhibit alongside of that. And we were in the state capitol, we were in the nation's capital, and we were here all over the Philadelphia, southeastern Pennsylvania region with that exhibit, and really wanting to make sure that we were using our voice to amplify the voice of others, and to destigmatize the disease of addiction, and to show that recovery is possible, and to make sure that people could see themselves in someone else if they were on that journey, or if their journey was like that of a family member, a friend, or yourself. And then from that, we were trying to figure out, well, how do you continue the conversation? And thought about a podcast. And this was, I guess, around the time podcasts were becoming somewhat popular. They're very popular now. I mean, I think it's a great way for people to tune in and really connect on issues. And we just said, let's start a podcast, and we're going to call it Someone You Know, and we're going to talk about the disease of addiction and the stigma around addiction. So our first season was just surprised us, Paul. We reached all 50 states, and then we reached 28 countries internationally. Wow. And we couldn't have imagined that being the case, but we're so thrilled by it, and we've just begun season 2, where we're going to be actually focusing still on stigma and destigmatization of the disease of addiction, but we're also going to be focusing in on collegiate recovery this year. And I'm very proud to say that Penn State is recognized for having an exceptional collegiate recovery program to support students who are on campus and living a life in recovery or sobriety. And that is maybe not something a lot of people know. There aren't a lot of those programs out there, but our foundation is working to make sure that we're talking more about that and the really important reasons to have those programs, and also providing resources to institutions in our region who are looking to stand those programs up or expand existing programs.
Well, that's an amazing podcast that you have there. Thanks for the shout out for the Penn State Recovery Network. We have featured them on our virtual speaker series. If you're interested in learning more about the Penn State Recovery Network, you can go out to our YouTube site and watch that episode with them. They're doing some great work here at Penn State. If you also want to learn more about the Someone You Know podcast, we've dropped that link in the chat. If you want to get more information there, you can subscribe to that on your favorite podcast app on your iPhone or Android devices, right? Wherever you consume podcasts, you can listen to
That's
the
right.
Someone You Know podcast. So go ahead and check
Mhm.
that out. This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by Heather Major. She's the executive director of the Independence Blue Cross Foundation. Heather, we like to have a little bit of fun here on Coffee Hour towards the end. We call it our lightning round. I'm going to throw a couple quick hitter questions to you, and you just tell us the first thing that comes to mind. So, first, your favorite class at Penn State.
It was an exercise class.
Okay. How about if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. It's supposed to be a lightning round. Wow. Who would I have dinner with and why? I think it would be, oh my gosh, I have a long list of people that I would love to sit down and have a conversation with. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say I'd love to have dinner with Adam Grant. And because Adam Grant is actually a friend and a friend of our family, but someone who I think I could sit and talk with him and be amazed by his knowledge and his understanding and the way that he is able to sort of articulate and communicate about organizations and people. And I think I'd like to sit down and have a conversation with him over dinner.
Well, he's a fellow Philadelphian. He's a faculty member at the University of Pennsylvania, I believe, and does great work. You can check out Adam Grant's podcast on work and organizational culture. And he's also done some great collaborations with Malcolm Gladwell, where he and Malcolm have been on each other's podcasts back and forth. And so, yeah, check out the great work of Adam Grant. That's would be a great dinner, wouldn't it?
And I think it'd be fantastic. I've been able to see and hear Adam speak at in-person events when those were happening, and excited about his new book. I haven't read it yet, but we have a copy here at home, and I'm looking forward to turning the pages on that soon. Absolutely.
How about your most unusual We Are moment, where maybe you heard We Are, where it was unexpected, or maybe caught you off guard?
Well, Paul, I was sharing earlier that you know, I'm an introvert by nature. My mom and my husband. Well, definitely my husband lean toward more of the extroverted side, and wherever we see people wearing any sort of Penn State logo or Penn State gear, we're always there's always a shout out for We Are, and there's usually always a response of Penn State. I don't know the oddest place. I would only say that there are Penn Staters everywhere, and I think that's one of the great things about being part of the Penn State family is that you can always find your Penn State friends wherever you are. So, you know, I almost these days look for it, I have to say, just to have an opportunity to have some interpersonal interaction, you know, walking down the street. So constantly on the lookout for folks wearing their Penn State gear.
Absolutely. A comment in the chat from Denise Sullivan. Denise says, congrats on an amazing career journey and your recent promotion to executive director. You are fabulous, Heather. So shout out from Denise Sullivan to you.
Right back at you, Denise. Denise and I are actually high school friends, both landed in Philadelphia. She's amazing. She's the best. If you all aren't connected with Denise, connect with her on LinkedIn. She's amazing.
Absolutely. How about your favorite Penn State sport?
Football.
There we go.
And not to be generic, but I just have a love for it, and I just have really great memories of. I try to travel. My husband and I try to travel to the bowl games. We make it into the seasonal bowl games, and so we've had some really great fun with some other Penn Staters, seeing some incredible places in our nation, and also being able to cheer on our Nittany Lions.
That's awesome. How about your favorite flavor of creamery ice cream?
This one's tough. I am not a fan of ice cream, so
wow, a hot take here this morning on Coffee Hour.
Yeah, I'm not. Ice cream's not my thing, but if you know, if I am on campus, I do feel like I need to go, and I like cookie dough, so I'll take cookie dough on my ice cream any day.
Heather, if people want to get more information about your foundation, where can they go?
Absolutely. Well, they certainly can contact me. I'm always happy and available to be a resource to anyone. But if you can't reach me, you can look at our website at ibxfoundation.org. You can follow us on our social media channels. In any way that you want to connect with us, we're happy to connect back.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you for joining us on Coffee Hour this morning and for allowing us to share your story with fellow Penn Staters. And we want to thank our guests who are Zooming in with us today. Thank you for watching. If you're a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you for your support. If you're not yet a member, what are you waiting for? Go out to our website today at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can become a member of the world's largest alumni association. Thanks for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are
Penn State.